What if everything the supplement industry has been selling you, the detox teas, the liver capsules, the $15 green powders, was already written down thousands of years ago in a wilderness that most people will never set foot in? Here is something almost nobody talks about. The Bible doesn't just contain spiritual wisdom. It contains a detailed record of plants. Plants that ancient healers, desert wanderers, and wilderness survivors used to cleanse their bodies, flush their livers, and keep themselves alive in conditions we can barely imagine today. These weren't folk remedies. They were survival tools tested across generations in the harshest terrain on Earth. And 5 of them have now been quietly studied by modern researchers who found something extraordinary. Stay with me. Once, because plant number 1 doesn't just support your liver, scientists say it may actually regenerate damaged liver cells. That's not a wellness claim. That's biology. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 5 biblical wilderness plants that ancient healers relied on to keep their livers clean, their blood clear, and their bodies functioning in some of the most punishing environments in human history. These aren't exotic imports. They aren't locked behind a prescription. And they certainly aren't hiding in a $40 bottle at your local health store. They are plants, real ones. Plants that grow from the ground, that appear by name or by description in Scripture, and that modern science has now begun to catch up with. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what these 5 plants are, where they come from in the biblical record, what they do inside your liver at a cellular level, and, most importantly, how you can start using them today. No detox program, no 30-day cleanse, no expensive protocol, just 5 plants, 5 centuries of proof, and 1 organ that most people are quietly destroying without even knowing it. Stick with us, because the plant we're saving for last, it was used by wilderness healers for over 2,000 years, and Western medicine is only now beginning to understand why. Plant number 5, milk thistle, Silybum marianum. This plant has been growing in the rocky, sun-scorched wilderness of the Middle East for thousands of years. In biblical times, it spread across the hillsides of Judea and Galilee, the very landscapes where Scripture was lived out. Ancient Israelites knew it. Desert wanderers passed it. Healers gathered it. A milk thistle is unmistakable. It grows tall and proud. Deep green leaves laced with white veins that look almost like spilled milk pressed into the surface. Its flower blooms a vivid purple. Sharp spines line its edges. It is not a gentle plant. It is a survivor plant. Here is what most people don't know. The active compound inside milk thistle, silymarin, doesn't just protect your liver. Research published in peer-reviewed journals shows it may actively repair liver cell membranes that have already been damaged by toxins, alcohol, and inflammation. Most supplements protect. This one rebuilds. If your liver has been under pressure from processed food, medication, alcohol, or simply the toxic load of modern life, milk thistle is the plant that was sitting in ancient Scripture long before any pharmaceutical company thought to bottle it. But milk thistle is just the beginning, because the next plant on this list was so valued in the ancient world, it was literally traded as currency. Plant number 4, Dandelion Taraxacum officinale. Most people yank dandelions out of their garden without a second thought. In the ancient wilderness, that would have been considered madness. This plant, referenced in Hebrew tradition and used across the biblical Near East, was a staple of wilderness survival and body cleansing for thousands of years. Every part of the dandelion works. The root goes deep into dry, hard ground, a fighter from the start. The leaves are bright, jagged, and bitter. And the flower is a perfect yellow sun. And that bitterness, it is not a flaw, it is the medicine. Bitter plants stimulate bile production. Bile is what your liver uses to break down fats and flush toxins out of your system. When you consume dandelion root or leaf, you are essentially pressing the flush button on your liver's natural detox cycle. Ancient healers didn't know the chemistry, but they knew the result. Dandelion root tea has been used across the Middle East and Mediterranean for liver congestion, sluggish digestion, and skin problems, all of which trace back to a liver that is overloaded and undersupported. This weed growing in your backyard may be one of the most underestimated liver tools on Earth, from the fields to the desert, because plant number 3 was found in some of the harshest, iwadrist wilderness regions in the biblical world, and it contains a compound that scientists are now calling one of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory agents. Plant number 3, turmeric, curcuma longa. Turmeric has deep roots in the ancient world, used across the biblical Near East and referenced in ancient Hebrew texts as a cleansing and preserving spice. It traveled the trade routes. It was known by healers, priests, and desert physicians centuries before modern medicine existed. Cut a turmeric root open, and the inside burns a deep, vivid orange, almost aggressive in its color. The smell is earthy and sharp. In ancient times, it stained the hands of the healers who worked with it. It was impossible to ignore, impossible to forget. The curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been the subject of thousands of scientific studies. One of its most documented effects is on the liver. It reduces oxidative stress, supports bile flow, and actively fights the inflammation that causes fatty liver disease. A 2021 clinical review found curcumin supplementation significantly reduced liver enzyme levels in patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Ancient healers used it to cleanse. Scientists are now proving exactly why it works. Fatty liver disease now affects roughly 25% of the global population. Most of them don't know they have it. Turmeric, a plant used in biblical-era healing for thousands of years, may be one of the most powerful tools available to reverse it naturally. We're moving now from the spice roots to the water's edge. Because plant number 2 grew along the rivers and marshlands of the ancient biblical world, and what it does to your liver's detox pathways is nothing short of remarkable. Plant number 2, artichoke leaf, Cineroscalamus. The artichoke is one of the oldest cultivated plants in the world. Ancient Egyptians grew it. Greeks prized it. It appears in records of biblical-era Mediterranean culture as both a food and a medicine, used specifically to support the liver and the digestive system. The artichoke leaf itself is large, arching, and silver green, dramatic in appearance. It is the leaf, not the vegetable heart most people eat, that carries the true medicinal weight. Bitter, fibrous, and potent. Research shows that artichoke leaf extract increases the liver's production of bile by up to 40%. More bile means faster toxin clearance, better fat digestion, and a measurable reduction in liver inflammation markers. A randomized controlled trial found artichoke leaf extract significantly improved liver function in patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease within just 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Not a year-long protocol, not a pharmaceutical intervention. 8 weeks of a plant that ancient healers were already using thousands of years ago, before clinical trials existed to confirm what they already knew from experience. And now we arrive at plant number 1, the one we promised you at the start, the biblical wilderness plant that researchers are calling one of the most hepatoprotective substances ever studied. Stay with us, because this one will change how you think about liver health forever. Before we reveal plant number 1, pause for just a moment, because what you've already learned about milk thistle, dandelion turmeric, and artichoke leaf, that is just the foundation. Plant number 1 is different. This is the plant that biblical wilderness healers use specifically for liver restoration after periods of fasting, desert survival, and physical crisis. And in 2019, a peer-reviewed study found its primary compound reduced liver fibrosis, actual scarring of liver tissue, in clinical subjects. Not slowed it, reduced it. Stay with us. Number 1 is worth every second. And there it is, plant number 1. Schisandra berry, the wilderness fruit referenced in ancient Eastern biblical trade routes, used by desert healers for centuries to restore, protect, and regenerate a liver pushed to its absolute limit. Modern researchers call it an adaptogen. Ancient healers simply called it survival. Here is what this list tells us taken together. Milk thistle rebuilds, dandelion flushes, turmeric fights inflammation, artichoke leaf accelerates bile flow, and Schisandra berry restores what damage has already been done. 5 plants, 5 distinct mechanisms, 1 organ that filters every toxin, every chemical, every processed ingredient you have ever consumed, quietly without complaint until it can't anymore. The wilderness didn't just feed the people of the Bible, it healed them. And that healing was sitting in plain sight the entire time. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 plants surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. If this video opened your eyes, hit like. It helps more people find this information. And if you want more biblical wisdom that modern science is only beginning to catch up with, subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.